1 minute you're a tough Special Forces instructor, the next you can only move your head. A story that captures the human spirit.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Dieter Marzinger is a self-defense instructor with a difference. Using only words to direct his classes, this former Springbok martial artist has risen above his paralysis to rekindle his love of the sport.
And we look forward to your company at 7. See you then. He was a rebel teenager who eventually found salvation in the tough world of martial arts. He became a fighting legend and even trained Special Forces operators how to defend themselves. But Dieter Marzinger's biggest battle was yet to come.
Go.
At first glance, this looks like an ordinary self-defense class, except that Dieter Marzinger has to instruct using only words. It's unusual, to say the least, a martial arts class being directed from a wheelchair. But this way of teaching hasn't developed overnight. It's taken every ounce of determination from Dieter.
One day, clarity hit me, and I realized that I'm focusing so much on the problem and all the excuses that's going with it. What I needed to do was I needed to focus on what I can do. I accepted that I was only a head, only a mouth, and with that I needed to make it work.
This former Springbok martial arts champion and Special Forces instructor developed a knack for outwitting his opponents from an early age.
You even robbed for the tooth fairy.
I did. In primary school, one of the peers kind of had a loose front tooth, and I told him it's not true, and he actually came a little bit close. I grabbed the tooth and ripped it out of his mouth and made as if it fell onto the floor. Meantime, I put it in my pocket, and that's when the whole reality of the tooth fairy actually kind of hit in, because I didn't get any change in my slipper the next morning.
But boyish pranks eventually led to delinquency, to car theft, shoplifting, alcohol and drug abuse. He landed up at Boys Town in Magaliesburg at the age of 13.
At that time, I'd already attempted to commit suicide three times already.
Now, why was that?
Call it drugs and hanging around with the wrong crowd.
It was at this halfway house for neglected and troubled teenage boys that Dieter was introduced to martial arts. His mother, who had single-handedly been raising 2 boys, was relieved when Dieter's behavior improved.
That made the change from a naughty boy into a leader, I think, this martial arts. That took him away. That gave him the break. We saw, yeah, I'm good at.
I had to become a somebody. And martial arts kind of was that vehicle for me.
Back in 1989, Carte Blanche visited Boys Town and caught a glimpse of Dieter going through his martial arts routine.
What do you remember?
I remember you being there. I remember you walking down an alley, which was a very notorious ambush area, and you actually got ambushed with your camera crew there with some water bombs.
I remember that.
Soon after this, Dieter became the mayor of Boys Town, the equivalent of head boy.
It was a good period of my life, and I actually account that to the martial arts side of it, and it really channeled all that energy that I had.
After Boys Town, you went into the army.
That's right.
The engineers in Bethlehem.
I actually had a bursary to study any art field that I wanted from the Everard Reed Gallery, but then I decided I'm not going to do the bursary, I'm going to go to the army. So I got sent with all the losers, all the guys that didn't finish matric or had criminal records, through to Bethlehem Engineering Corps there. And yeah, it was a tough time, but silver lining, I really figured out that I'm quite good with martial arts there.
Dieter was a very powerful, strong martial artist when I met him. So he came to me for some further training.
Under the mentorship of Johan Haywood, Dieter attained his 4th dan in freestyle fighting. And in 2001, Johan asked Dieter to assist him in training Special Forces.
It seems that Dieter was very proud of the work he did for Special Forces.
Well, I'm proud of it as well. Whenever Dieter did something, he did it with 100% commitment.
It was just when Dieter seemed to have got his life together, he was training the special forces and getting this sort of recognition for it, that everything was shattered in a split second. It was the 19th of May, 2002. Dieter, this picture, taken what, minutes before?
I think it was taken about half an hour before the accident, yes. We were on a houseboat. We were just having a good time, having a social with the Special Forces guys. And it was hot, like only Palabordwa can get. And I decided I'm going to dive off the boat just to cool down and then get back on the boat again. And then I hit a sandbank half a meter under the water.
Dieter, what do you remember of that incident?
It's quite funny. I remember diving off, and I thought, well, you know, I must have hit the hippo. And then I tried to turn my head to get to the water surface, but I couldn't get to the top of the surface. And that's when the journey started.
When Dieter's mom heard the news, she feared the worst.
I suspected that it could be very bad news. And when they told me they're flying him in from the Northern Transvaal into Pretoria, I made my sons already.
Dieter had broken his spine and lost the use of his arms and legs. Suicide became a constant thought as he contemplated life confined to a wheelchair. I'm trying to imagine what it's like going from a tough guy, a fighter, to being in a wheelchair and really not being able to move much.
That's really where I think the story takes place, because my entire identity lies behind what I can do physically. Now all of a sudden my life changes in a blinking of an eye.
If landing up in a wheelchair wasn't enough, the last place where he still had feeling came under siege when Dieter developed an incurable scalp infection.
Now I've got sleep deprivation caused by constant pain. It was a dark chapter in my life.
And he just came out every time stronger and stronger. In actual fact, he supported us, being so strong.
But Dieter also takes strength from the people surrounding him. Mike Bester, an old schoolmate from Boys Town, left his job in transportation to become Dieter's hands and feet.
We had a reunion, a Boys Town reunion about 9 months ago, and then that's when I met him again.
And what did you think when you saw him?
Hey, it wasn't a good day.
Mike and his wife live on the same property as Dieter, making it easier for him to be mobile. In turn, Mike says Dieter has become his mentor.
He made me a stronger person, and he made me believe in myself.
I mean, it's quite a demanding job, this.
Yes, it is, but I love it. I'm doing it from my heart.
With emotional and physical support in place, Dieter still had to face his most challenging battle, how to earn a living. Dieter, my first sketch, October 2003.
That was the first one. And I started with mouth painting. I'd always told my martial arts students that you can be successful in anything if you're willing to get the education, if you're willing to suffer the perseverance. And now it was pretty much time for the instructor to become the student.
Dieter belongs to the Foot and Mouth Painting Association in Switzerland and has completed 56 paintings so far. The quality of his work is comparable to any able-bodied artist. Now, I see Lizzie features in quite a few of them.
Yes, she's my African mother. She looks after me. She does the caring, the feeding, the washing, the toothbrushing.
Lizzie also mixes Dieter's paints and selects and washes his paintbrushes.
Wash that one for me. Give me this one.
I'm everything to Dieter, and also Dieter is everything to me.
And has he taught you martial arts? No.
I won't do that.
You won't do that?
I won't do that. My martial art is when I put Dieter on the bed, take Dieter out for the bed, turn in Dieter to wash Dieter and do everything. It's my exercise.
Within this room that includes his painting corner, Dieter has created a self-contained working space so efficient that even on days when he's bedridden, he can continue to work.
But I'm not taking life lying down.
It's here that Dieter hones another talent, motivational speaking.
That is when my journey began.
And as his journey continues, Dieter is taking his love of martial arts to new heights with the recent release of a self-defense DVD.
I thought about doing that way before my accident, but I never had the guts and I didn't know how to do it. And it's amazing because I couldn't do this before the accident. And now I've done it after the accident with all my limitations.
I know I'm going to recognize the danger quicker, I'm going to react better, and I'm going to get out of it as quickly and as safely as possible.
Go.
Isa van Niekerk is one of Dieter's self-defense students. She's got a black belt in freestyle martial arts.
But it's very different to having a class directed from a guy in a wheelchair.
Not really. I mean, if you talk to him for half an hour, you realize he's an expert in his field, and you forget about the wheelchair.
Dieter, it sounds like you've got many ideas. Have you got a life philosophy?
You are much tougher, you are much stronger, you are much more resourceful than what you think you are. And I would actually dare to say there are no excuses.
So we'll have to watch this space.
Yes, it's only 5 years. Check me out in the next 5 years.
Well, incredible determination and spirit and, of course, artistic talent.